Hello everybody, Billy Irwin, IG. Welcome back. We are going into step 3 of the 7-step process. I'm going to call today 3A, only because I do want to take a minute to talk about why we're actually going farther, right? So why are we going to do all this work? What's the money? I mean, am I just being gaslighted because, I know healthcare is overpriced, but by the time I do all this work, and am I going to get a return from it? We're going to show you today exactly why you should do that work. Shout out to Eric Bricker, way back in 2020, Dr. Eric Bricker, internist, phenomenal source of data. He brought this to my attention back in 2020 from a study published by the American Hospital Association, right? So it's published by the hospitals. Let's see what's going on in their finance, right? And this is, in the end, I did want to take a minute to, again, show you the reason why we do what we do and dig into the things and pay more attention to the detail. Because honestly, on a commercial insurance side, as an employer, you're getting ripped off and here's the numbers though. So in 2020, total cost of care as published by the American Hospital Association was $900 billion. So almost $1 trillion. So broken down into 3 different parts. Of the 900 billion, the 800-pound gorilla is Medicare. So Medicare was responsible for 540 billion of the 900 billion in costs. And then we have another component, and this is called uncompensated cost. Sorry, this is gonna run a little bit close together. This uncompensated cost, that's just folks that, and I would see them in the emergency room, and God bless them, 2 o'clock in the morning because, their kids are sick, and I would be at Children's Hospital, and they have no other source of care. They have no pediatricians. You can tell they're destitute and they're desperate for care. So I would gladly take money out of my wallet and help those families out. But that's uncompensated, right? So they occupied in 2020 about $38 billion in care. So basically, care they received couldn't pay for it, or medical bills are the #1 source of bankruptcy in America. Look it up. I mean, that's telling you something, right? And then, so that leaves the commercial side. So commercial insurance of the 900 minus the 540 and the 38. So that leaves the commercial insurance. And again, I apologize. This is so scrunched up. $322 billion. Okay, great. It all makes sense. Why are you telling me this? Well, now if you go through the study, hospitals on average, they made about their profit margin, even nonprofits, so everybody lumped together, made about 8% in profit margin, 7.7% in the study. So now again, this is cost, this is their expenses. So now, if we add in the 8% profit margin, that gets them, these are all rough round numbers, 975 billion in revenues. Here's the kicker. So the 540 billion, Medicare only paid 470 billion for the 540 billion in services. Okay. Now, 38 billion, these are the guys, they didn't have any money, right? So these guys paid 0 for the 38 billion. And the hospitals are still making money. They're making 7.7%. God bless them, everybody deserves it. But now, that's gonna leave the commercial insurance side to eat up the rest of this bill. So the commercial insurance, although they received 322 billion in services, they paid $505 billion to the system. If you put in an 8% profit margin, 8% on top of the 322, they should have paid something like 350. they paid $505. So commercial insurance paid a markup of 57%, right? So why should you look into it? Why should you look into your care more deeply? Why should you care? Well, you don't have to care if you don't mind coughing up a 57% profit margin to somebody and not getting the services back. To me, that's theft. Hey, that's the way the system is, and that's a much bigger system. That's a much bigger problem than we're here to talk about. But my point is, you should pay attention to it. You got to. You just have to these days. So now, even if you go self-funded, it doesn't solve this problem, right? So we're going to get into step 3B and step 4. So 3B, we'll talk about your data, depending on your population. Maybe you want to go self-funded, maybe you don't. If you have older employees, 55 plus on an average age, you probably want to stay fully insured. So, but we'll talk about that. So 3B is going to be data, and then 4, this is where you can actually do something about this, and we'll start talking about reference-based pricing.